All right, welcome back to Jeff Kanenge Live. What a wonderful debate we're having today on the state of the nation. 33 days and 33 nights to go before the general election. August 8th is looming. We're asking a question earlier on. Was it right for the two principals to opt out of the presidential debate? It's split right down the middle. 50% of you say yes, 50% of you say no. If you're just joining us, I have two brilliant lawyers in the house, and I tell you, they're cracking at it. Dr. PLO Lumumba and Kamotho Waiganjo, both in the house. We're going to go to the counties now and see what the races are going to be looking like. Dr. straight to you. Nairobi, since we started with the gubernatorial debate in Nairobi, your thoughts about Nairobi? How's it going to pan out?
I was here in 1974. I was in Jericho and Eastlands where I grew up. Pathetic. I was in Kibera yesterday. Pathetic. Garbage collection, sewage, the roads, Westlands, the roundabout has been blocked for the last 4 years. Nothing is functioning. The current administration has performed disastrously. But we have choices. We have 4 individuals, and unfortunately I don't think that those 4 individuals, in my view, are what Nairobi need. But that is who we have. And I hold the view that the current administration ought not to be given another chance. They have been given the opportunity to serve. They have collected taxes. They have received subvention from central government, and they have nothing to show for it. I do not know what Peter Kenneth represents. He was in Gatanga, and he did his bit there, Sonko, and there is a sense in which if Miguna were to defang some of his statements, he has an idea of what ought to be done. In fact, in that debate, if Miguna had not degenerated, and is my friend, into very direct insults, out of the 4, he's the one who appears to know what ought to be done. Unfortunately, because he's running as an independent and because of the configurations of the Jubilites and the Nasserites, he's possibly not going to perform as well as he should. But Nairobi deserves better. Yeah. And what we are telling people is to go out there and do what you must. But unfortunately, we'll not get what we need. Perhaps we are going to get what we deserve, because we are in the business of looking at the wrong things in determining who ought to be given the opportunity to serve. Mwalimu Nyerere used to say, uongozi ni kitu kitakatifu. Choose men and women who are going to be servants. We must begin as a nation and as Nairobians to do that. Garbage collection. Yeah. Let me leave it there. But I look forward to the day, perhaps after this election cycle, when men and women who love and know Nairobi will come forth in 2022. 2017 is not our year of liberation. It is our year of agony, unfortunately.
You see, other than political loyalty, I do not know any single Nairobian who can point to anything significant that the county government of Nairobi has done in the last 5 years. Anything significant.
What about
At least there's a graph.
What about e-collection? You know, the e-collection of everything from parking tickets to...
E-collection is not a service. That is a tax. You can never pride yourself that you collected money from people. It is how you used it. So what you want, so the issue, the pride is not how efficient the collection is. It is how effective the usage is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is actually the problem. And you know, Nairobi is the capital of the continent. I think we only compete with South Africa, with Johannesburg and Cape Town. I mean, for us to be in the state where we are struggling with even just basic issues like garbage collection, you know, where we are struggling with issues of just basic management of traffic. When I was coming here, it took me like an hour to just travel a short distance. A lot of those is just very basic management. There are some circles that were once drawn along the roads. Nobody even knows what. I think that's the only thing the county government did. So we have a challenge. Is our solution in the other candidates that have offered themselves? I don't know, but it's definitely not in the current administration.
But perhaps we give the other candidates the benefit of doubt. That is my argument, that this particular administration has failed so dismally.
How much worse can it get?
That there is wisdom in considering the other candidates and giving them the benefit of doubt, and perhaps they can deliver. Look at even matters as mundane as the grass that was planted with so much fanfare. It has now dried out. The traffic lights don't work. The traffic marshals have disappeared. And it pains one that is the situation in, as he says, the capital city of East Africa. These men and women have done a great disservice.
Do you know people used to get arrested for walking on that grass?
Oh yes. Oh, yes. And you see, here's the thing.
Okay, no, let's move on. This is going to get depressing.
Yeah.
PLO mentioned the independent candidates. He mentioned in particular, and the one that sticks out the most, obviously, is Miguna. Let's go next door to Kiambu, where the incumbent lost in the nomination and went independent. Does he have a chance? Does William Kabogo have a chance?
I have my very serious doubts. I think the issues that informed the anti-Kabogo sentiment are still live, and they were significant. Now, I know he's done a very huge makeover. Now, part of that was propaganda, of course, but he's done a huge makeover. Whether it will convince the candidates, the citizens to vote for him, I'm very doubtful. There's also the whole question of Jubilee. Don't forget that this is the president's county, and the president's message resonates that he's a Jubilee presidential candidate. And so I see that the Jubilee wave will help Waititu. And the very significant anti-Kabogo wave. Remember that a lot of people who went for nominations, and I have many friends who went for nominations in Kiambu, did not go to vote for Waititu. They went to vote against Kabogo for whatever reason. And I don't live in Kiambu, so I don't know the reason why. But and I'm not sure that enough has been done to undo that. The third thing is that when it comes to service provision, William Kabogo is actually one of the better governors. That's one of the ironies of democracy. William Kabogo has been one of the better governors in some respects, and so it's but that's electoral, that's democracy.
Yeah. Speaking of democracy, PLO, about a technocrat in the background and a street thug, for lack of a better word, in the foreground. Is that where we're going in some of these counties?
But there is a sense in which we delude ourselves. The technocrat believes that upon election he'll be given the opportunity to serve as a technocrat. And that is why what I think about my good friend Nyoro in Kiambu, my good friend Igaze in Nairobi. But the political realities will be such that immediately the governor is elected, his acolytes, who are streetwise, will imprison him. And you, the technocrat, will be left in a lonely island where you dream about many things and you can't achieve them. But there is a sense in which if the governors who are politically savvy could allow the technocrat deputies to be the ones that drive with the technocrats who are in the CEs and other people, then that could be a good way of countering the inadequacies of these politicians and ensuring that they are compensated for by the technocrats. But that is easier said than done. For the electorate, that I think is the selling point. I hear Sonko saying, I'm good in the streets. You don't think I'm very smart. I've brought you Igade, who is a little smarter. I hear Waititu saying, I'm street savvy, I'm wise, I'm the Kenyan politician that you love. But Nyoro, who is more cerebral, is behind me. So what I lack, Nyoro has. And that argument appeals to the electorate for the moment. As to whether it will be the one that carries the day after we have crossed the river is another debate. But one must give people the benefit of doubt in that regard.
Good point, good point. Mombasa, 001. Can the Sultan be defeated, Kamotho, do you think? Can Hassan Omar or Suleiman Shakbal pass in the middle?
I suppose you can never say it's over until it's over. I was in Mombasa this morning, and you drive through the whole of that county. There is not a single billboard of any other candidate other than Hassan Joho. Now, I don't know how that happened. There is not a single one, and there are very many. Now, does that mean that's how the election is like? I think Joho is fairly popular in Mombasa. Part of it is Jubilee also made him popular. But I think that there are some dynamics that may make it a fairly tough race. But I think it's his to lose. I think it's generally his to lose.
PLO, you agree?
I think so. There is a sense in which the Jubilee government aided him in a great way. And this happens with many administrations, that you hammer an individual and you raise his profile and he acquires a larger-than-life stature and he becomes a victim, and the people love victims. And he's riding on the crest of that victimhood. But there is a sense, therefore, in which one can say that he may have an easy ride, and that the others may not dent is the stature that has been created largely by Jubilee. He now thinks He's some kind of demigod in Mombasa. When you listen to him talk, he thinks he's a mini president of sorts. Yeah. And there is a sense in which that also is unfortunate.
Yeah. My brother-in-law was telling me yesterday they had to stop traffic for 30 minutes so that Joho could pass.
Oh, yeah.
Stop traffic.
Yes.
Streets were empty.
Absolutely.
What?
Yes.
He's the Sultan, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Peter, let me stick to you. Kirinyaga. Obviously, it's going to be the first woman governor. That's guaranteed.
Yeah, but you can imagine my preference is Martha, but it's not going to be easy. I think when one watches the environment there, one sees that Miss Waiguru is quite strong.
Yeah, even the president took the middle road in this.
On that. So I think it is not going to be easy for my friend Martha. Remember also that there is the so-called the Jubilee wave. And that if you are seen to be a madoa-doa, it may not be stated to you. And I think there is a sense in which Martha, by sticking to NAC, is telling the electorate that I'm one leg inside, but for political opportunism, I'm with you. Yeah. And the electorate is possibly likely to be directed in the direction of Miss Waiguru. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I see the minji.
I think Mother's time, and she's a great person, but I think Mother's time is gone. I think it's minji territory. If you go to Kirinyaga, even if you don't know, you will ask what is minji, because that's all they talk about.
Correct.
I think Mother's time is gone, and I think she still can serve in this country. I think we owe Mother the reality. She's one of those who contributed the most to us having this constitution when she was Minister for Justice. But I think there come a time, as Professor Saitoti used to say, there come a time. Yeah.
Kisumu County.
Kisumu is very tricky. Yes. There is a sense in which, if you ask me who my candidate should be, it is Professor Peter Anyang', because I hold the view that Anyang' knows what ought to be done. Anyang' is clear. I've had the opportunity of reading his manifesto, and I believe that Anyang', given an opportunity, is capable of directing that little city into something that is worthy. But they have now ganged up against Anyang', and is now clan politics, and I fear that it's not going to be easy for Anyang' to make it through. But Anyang' really ought to be the governor.
Even though he's NASA, even though people probably be voting against that.
There is one thing that has happened in the Nasserized areas in Luoland. There is a sense in which the people are telling Honorable Raila, please, permit us to vote for you, and vote for you we will. But allow us to vote for the men and women that we choose, because remember, Honorable Raila, that the nominations were shambolic, and they did not necessarily produce the men and women that we deserve. So don't be surprised that these individuals who have been referred to as independents make quite a good showing in some of these areas, such as particularly in Nyanza. In Siaya, I suspect that the incumbent will have a run for his money.
Homa Bay as well.
Homa Bay.
Yes.
And even in Kisumu, where I would prefer Nyang', as I've already said. And Migori, I think that is the only person who sits pretty. So there is a sense in which there is a silent revolt, in which they are telling the leaders, please, this is the democracy. Don't think that we are a bunch of nincompoops whom you can just direct to move in one direction. We think, and we want to be allowed to think in matters of who our MCA is, in matters of who our governor is, in matters of who our senator is, in matters of who our MPs are. You, Raila Amolo Odinga, the presidency, tutakupa. Lakini yale mengine tuachie tafadhali.
And I think it's unfortunate for Honorable Raila Odinga to push that argument. It's not helpful. It doesn't help him, because all it does is disillusion the people, you know. And it's actually not a problem for him if there's strong competition between those candidates, because when they come out to vote for their preferred candidates, they will vote for him as president.
They put the turnout in his favor.
It doesn't help it for him to keep. So they now have a term in that zone called zigzag, that they're going to vote zigzag. You know, they'll be going like
you know, Honorable Kenyatta tried it here, and he saw the heat, and I think he retreated.
There was a wave.
There was backlash. He was told, I think, in no uncertain terms, Ndugu, seek your votes.
Yes.
Let us be allowed to choose the other candidates. And he took the cue very quickly. I wish Honorable Raila would take that cue very quickly and then he will salvage and help boost his base.
Yeah, Kamotho, the one race I really can't understand, it's really confusing to me, is Wasinkishu, Mandago, and Buzeki.
Yeah.
And Buzeki was asked by his good friend, Deputy President, step aside for this guy. He said no.
It's a very delicate race, and because the dynamics are also part of the contradictions of the Jubilee coalition. I think that's yeah, and I think managing that to ensure that that entire ticket goes into the Jubilee bag is very, very important. And I think so far the Deputy President has handled it very well. I think if there are any challenges, at least they are not flying out in the open. But that's one that you can't write off and say it's going to go this way, because remember that what I would call the immigrant vote, a lot of the immigrant vote is voting one way, together with some of the locals, and so there are underlying currents there that are also about the outsiders and the insiders. So it's one that you can't predict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You agree?
I can't agree more. In fact, I have listened to quite a number of individuals in that part of the world, and I think the gentleman called Buzeki has taken the pulse of that particular county, and he is very confident that he has a constituency there which will vote in his favor. And out of it, I'm told that is out of marital arrangement that is going to be very useful to him. And I think he has also invested in this thing for a very long time. And he thinks that I can't just be shut out. It's going to be quite a close race.
Too close to call.
Too close to call.
Another one that might be too close to call, Kamotho, is Machakos.
Yeah, Machakos look like a shoe-in for Governor Alfred Mutua.
It did.
But I think he has a tough fight.
Yeah.
He has a tough fight with the Sipite. You know, Sipite. I think he has a tough fight. Now, unfortunately, there are undercurrents in Machakos about outsiders, you know, and these people. So that's not very helpful. So there's tensions in the county because of that issue.
Yeah.
Governor Mutua, even though they say he's a man of cinema, has done quite a bit of work. If you go around that county, and I've gone around the county quite a bit, there is a lot of work that has been done in the road sector, and there's a lot of work that has been done in the water sector. I mean, a lot of work. I am not sure that the people of Machakos will be improving their welfare by electing a career politician. I think that part of it, there's significant show for Governor Mutua. But in terms of the work that he's able to do, and in terms of his understanding of the issues, Governor Mutua is, from my perspective, I'm not a voter there, would probably do a better job for Machakos. But then the voters know best.
Yeah. PLO, you agree?
Not easy, but there is a sense in which the trials and tribulations of Wavinya in the last few days have also kind of enamored her to the electorate. She's now a victim, and for that reason, and she's quite an energetic lady. There is a sense in which you can't just write her off. I think that is going to be a very, very close race. It was not, as one would have assumed several years ago, that this was a shoe-in race. So it's not going to be easy. And if it goes to Wavinya, I wouldn't be surprised. If Mutua retains it, I equally wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
do you notice the many T-shirts actually being sold with Yaliondwele Sipit?
And that corruption of the proverb may also help Wavinya. There is a sense in which such kind of thing, Yaliondwele Sipite, may also be. In fact, if I were Wavinya at my next rally, I would say Yaliondwele Sipite.
And it becomes your brand. There's a song. I had a song today. You know, there's Kamba singing now.
But the danger, Jeff, on a light note, is that if we continue doing this, we are likely to forget the true proverb.
What is the true proverb?
And then there's another. Tugange. Yeah. So Kenya is in danger of thinking that the correct proverb is actually the Wavinya version.
In fact, most people don't know what the joke is.
No. What do you mean? What's wrong with that? Absolutely. Gentlemen, one more and then we can wind up. Bomet, one of the principals against Laboso Joyce, and you know, traditionally Jubilee stronghold, but Mashinani has been quite powerful. How's it going to pan out? Come on.
I would have loved PLO to give it a
go, PLO, go. Let me go.
You know, quiet waters run deep. So in as much as there is a lot of brouhaha about the principle, for the good reason that there is a sense on the part of the Nasserites that one of the chinks in the armor of Jubilee is Bomet and that part of the Kalenjin nation, if you may. So there has been a lot of activity in Bomet, so one would assume that Isaac is going to get it. But who knows the subterranean activities of Labos? Who knows whether that wave, in its own sweet time, in its own sweet way, will provide a crest upon which Laboso may deliver. So in as much as it looks on the face of it that Isaac has it signed, sealed, and delivered, there is a sense in which you can't write off Laboso.
Yeah, he could lose.
Oh, very likely.
He could lose.
He could.
I think Isaac would have won that race if he had not run away from Jubilee. I think he had won that race. Isaac has done a lot of good work in Bomet. He's again one of the other, better performing governors. I think the movement to Nassau was a miscalculation, and it made it difficult for his voter to vote for him, because then they feel like they're betraying Jubilee, which is where most of the electorate in that region is. So he may just lose it, which would be unfortunate.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, we can't discount or not talk about Meru. Kamotho.
I think that is Peter Munya's race.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Hands down or close?
Close, but I think it is his. I think part of it is that like Kirinyaga, there's a sense in which people are also looking for freshness, because Munya has been governor for one term. Honorable Kiraitu Murungi, great gentleman, been a great minister, good friend. I think he's been around, and there come a time. Yeah. And so. And I think also the victim issue, the feeling that Governor Munya is being victimized, also comes to help him. But Meru politics are also dynamic because of the Tigania, Igembe, all those issues, and so you can't know for sure. But I think Munya might just get it. Maybe it will be close, but I think it may go to Munya.
In fact, Jeff, my good friend and teacher, Murungi Kiraitu, is in many ways now the Methuselah of Meru politics. And I can't agree with him more that people are looking for some freshness. And I wouldn't be surprised if Munya retains it. There is a sense in which, when you talk to the Merus, some of them in that part of the area, they say, we wish that Murungi could remain in the House of the Elders, which is the Senate.
And he had a great role.
Yes, and he had a great role. We of course, we wish everybody well. We are not going to vote in those areas. Correct. We are making what is, in our view, an objective assessment. We may be wrong, but there is a sense in which one gets the feeling that Munya may just tip it.
Yeah. I started off by talking about thugs in the foreground and technocrats in the back. Speaking of thugs, Babu Owino wants to know what his chances are in Embakasi East.
I'll leave that to PLO.
Babu is a young man who has done a lot of things at the university. One of the things that one expects of a young man like Babu is to introduce hygiene, if you may, in the manner in which he conducts his affairs.
Yes. So
that he is seen as a reformed young man, and such young men ought to be encouraged. I wish him Godspeed, and I wish him what I call a character transplant, if one may, in terms of the manner in which he conducts himself in that environment. Is totally different from the university. He's an intelligent young man, and he's beginning to get into the political environment. Even if he loses now, it will be a good preparation going forward. And one of the things that he does quite often is to consult, which is a good thing. Right. I wish him well. Yeah. And I think he's not a thug as such. He's an individual who was engaged in... we allow this at the university. Fire-eating revolutionaries are accepted at the university. But when you graduate, you stop eating the fire and you come out.
Yeah, and you stop, enough of the tibims. And whatever the other things he says.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those. Speaking of young people, like PLO said, Kamotho, the rise of the celebrity. The Maji Majis in Embakasi, the John Kiarias in Dagoretti, Jaguar in Starehe. There's a whole bunch of celebrities who have come up
And it's a good thing. And it's a good thing. And what I hope is that that celebrity would then be translated to programs. I think one of the most impressive young men for me was Sakaja, who's standing for Senate in Nairobi. Because if you look at the nominated MPs who are able to do legislative work that was seeking to benefit young people, which is where he had been nominated in Parliament, Johnson Sakaja did a lot of work. He sponsored about 4 bills, if I'm not wrong, that was speaking to issues on procurement, on the council, the youth council, and the empowerment system. And that is what we want for these young people to be, so that the celebrity is not an end in itself. You want them to translate that to programs and to recognize that there are very many people who are looking up to them as mentors, which is why I'd agree with what PLO was saying about Babu, is that once you now transition to leadership, remember that there are also very many young people who are looking up to you as a mentor. And so in a sense, you need to now, you know, sort of be a little pause some of the activism, the wild activism, and recognize you're now a leader that people are looking up to. But more importantly, push programs that benefit that age group that is really struggling.
But there's something we should not forget. There is also activists, the people like Boniface Mwangi in Starehe. One of the things that Boniface is doing, which is very innovative, is to ask people to donate and to contribute to his campaign. A good thing. Somebody like Okia, Okoiti, Omtata. These are individuals who have been out there, so they are graduating from this platform of criticism and saying, we have come of age. We now want to offer solutions. And I think that is a good thing. And they ought to be given the kind of oxygen of publicity that they deserve, and also the opportunity to serve. I hope that the electorate will be sufficiently discerning to give some of these individuals an opportunity to serve, and also to ensure that we create an environment where young people, young men and women grow and participate in governance.
Gentlemen, before we wind up, we're going to go to the tweets and texts because we are, after all, a real-time show. But before we do that, Maina Kageni, message for you. He's still up. He has a radio station that in a few hours he's still up. He says, Jeff, I never do politics, but could PLO be available on Friday and come in and talk to Kenyans on Classic, you know, on his show? He says, I would vote for him for president, governor, senator, MP, MCA, and women's rep all at once.
Maina himself was a women's rep.
He was for a minute. So will you talk to him?
Maina, I've been kissy on Friday, perhaps the following week.
Okay. Maina, you heard that. He'll be in Kisi the following week. Monica, what do we have? Okay, results first. Was it right for the two principals we've been asking to opt out of the presidential debate? Oh, look at that. Yeses have now gone to 49%. No, it wasn't right. 51%. Interesting. All right. Tweets, real quick. Mushina Masharia, you say, it would make more sense if all of the candidates opted out, leaving UK and Rao. Javis, Weke, or Jays, okay. Yes, the two are really campaigning. We already know their agendas. The rest are waiting for this debate. Okay. Steve Jenga, you say, they should have participated. It's the only platform where Kenyans can engage them directly. Opting out shows lack of accountability. That's what we talked about. Ben Linguli, you say no. Truth be told, Kenyatta and Raila are the two front runners, and thus no need for the debate in their absence.
Absolutely.
Last tweet, Abdi Sheikh Mohammed, you say this debate may inform the marginal undecided voters, hence giving us a breakthrough. Interesting. Okay, couple of SMSs. Let's see what we have. J. Kimani Kabeta, you say, let all presidential candidates instead sign a peace agreement in public so that we can avoid violence during the elections. Interesting. James, it is not right for the president and NASA presidential flag bearer not to attend the debate. They must be ready to talk to the public. Last one, Dongo, you say yes. They have already launched their manifestos. I don't see any need of attending the debate. They should be given time to work on their busy schedule. Oh, there's Facebook. We have some Facebook. All right. Thank you, Monica. Facebook. What do we have? Marco Dak, you say Kenya was heading in the right direction during the last election, but this decision from two principals will cause grave concern among the citizens. Guriu Wamiti, you say, no, they should present themselves for a more reasoned debate other than the normal campaign propaganda and rhetoric. Last one, Stalin. Such debates have no effect on a voter's decision to vote for a given candidate in this country. Interesting.
Yes.
Gentlemen, closing thoughts. We're going to start with you, Kamotho. That's your camera over there. Is that the one, Monica? Yes. Carry on. Closing thoughts.
We have, I think the thing to tell Kenyans is we have 33 days before they appear and make a decision about who will lead them at various levels. And I think it's important that every Kenyan who has their voter ID card comes out on that day and votes, and then goes home and wait for the results. What we cannot afford is to have another, citizen against citizen fight in this country. Let us try and be peaceful, but we also we must also hold IEBC accountable to presenting for us a credible, reasonably fair, excellent election. We do not want one where it is contested on legitimate basis.
Absolutely.
Fellow Kenyans, I do not speak with the exactitude of a Jewish prophet, but I have no doubt in my mind that on the 8th of August we will have a credible election, and it is you and me sitting in different parts of Kenya who must come out and vote. And when we have voted, let us go home and ensure that we wait so that the candidate who has won the majority of the votes is declared the winner, whether it is the president, the governor, the senator, the MP, the MCA, the women's representative. Remember that Kenya is a great country, and we have a democratic and a patriotic duty to protect this country. It's the only country we have, and I have no doubt in my mind that you fellow patriots will make that happen. IEBC, I know you are equal to the task. My good friend and classmate Wanyonyi Chebukati preside over an election that history may say, behold, a great man, a great team that presented a transparent and good election. God bless you.
Indeed, indeed. And thanks so much for those new words, the Jubilites and the Nazarites. What do you call the independents?
they have no name.
They're the others.
Gentlemen, such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Let's talk again, hopefully, within the next 33 days, all right?
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us. No, guys, what's the hurry?
Oh, you said goodbye.
I thought you were telling us to go.
Oh, all right.
Someone's in a hurry.
Yeah, Leo Peterson.
Thanks so much for joining us, folks. It's been a great debate, and yes, very healthy, and that's what we're all about. 33 days, 33 nights to go before the elections. You make the call at the end of the day. These gentlemen have laid it out nicely, smoothly, brilliantly, and it's up to you at the end of the day. Because like PLO said, sometimes you get what you deserve. Thanks so much for joining us. Every Wednesday, you know, it's those three letters on the keyboard that follow each other, JKL, right here on Citizen Television. Again, thanks for joining us. Good night, good luck, God bless.